Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 41 of the Buccateers podcast. I am your host, Tampa Tones, and we're joined by the full crew tonight. Stun is mowing around Tampa somewhere, riding around. I'm sure he'll be bouncing in a little bit. But other than that, we got Cody G, Bucko, A-Cats in the house for the first time of this season. So we're going to be fired up talking about Cowboys, Bucs. Week 1, we got some defending of titles to do, defending of the Bay to do. We're going to be talking about that. We got a Cowboys guy coming on, Cleveland from the Cleve and Me podcast. He's a Cowboys fan. He'll be on at the 6:50 Eastern hour to talk Cowboys football for about 10 to 20 minutes and the Zach Martin news and so forth as well. Their star offensive lineman going down to COVID. We got Bucs roster to talk about. So much more, man. It just feels good to be back. It feels good that we got football this close, right around the damn corner. We got Bucs Cowboys 4 nights away, fellas. It seems like we just won the Super Bowl, but now we're here. And we're here, and we got Bucs Cowboys, and that game is, like I said, just 4 nights away. Fellas, happy holiday weekend. Hope you guys are all having a good weekend and slowly but surely preparing for opening night Thursday.
Absolutely. Glad to be here, man. It does feel like it was just yesterday. Here we are, about to kick it off week 1.
Can't wait. It's a big game. Big nationally televised, obviously, game.
When you win the Super Bowl.
What you say, Cats? Cats?
It's a shorter offseason when you actually go deep in the playoffs.
That is fair. That's very true. We're used to having the offseason that spans from December till now. Our offseason didn't start in February, and if we pair again this year, it's even a week later with the 17th game. Cody, I like your new background, the Mike Evans jersey. That's pretty damn badass. I like it, man. That's beautiful. Speaking of Mike Evans, I think he's going to have a huge year this year. We were talking in the group chat earlier. Someone sent that Mike said he, feels like he's in perhaps the best shape he's been in at this point of his career. So, Cody, I want to get your take on, the 52 and how you view Mike Evans shaping out this year, and fellas, the type of season we think Mike Evans is going to have this year in general.
I think Mike's going to have a huge year. I think it's I'm expecting like 15 touchdowns probably. I don't think he'll lead the team in catches or yards. I think that'll be probably AB, maybe Godwin, but I still expect a huge year from Mike Evans. As far as the roster, not really any huge surprises to me. I feel like we're a stacked team. I think we're the deepest team in the NFL right now. No reason we can't run it back.
Going for 2, right?
Going for 2. The team is loaded top to bottom. Having Vita Vea, hopefully for a whole season, adding Tryon to the pass rush. The O-line, having Kappa and Stenny back, the depth at O-line is crucial. I think we're in a good position. But as far as Mike Evans goes, I'm afraid, like what Kat said, he's going to be pretty touchdown dependent because of a lot of mouths to feed with Gronk, Brait, OJ, Scotty, Tyler Johnson, and then, of course, Godwin and AB. There's a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of balls to go around. So I don't think we're going to have too many 100-catch contenders on this team,
Yeah, I mean, people forget, Cats, real quick before you chime in, I see you ready to go. People forget that O.J. Howard was having the best start to his career last year before he got hurt. Cats, what say you?
Yeah, I was thinking, I think Mike's going to have a fine year, but I think the amount of other targets available might knock his numbers down a bit. That doesn't mean he's having a lesser season. It's just because of the other talent around him. It's not like it was where he was the guy and then, you had a bunch of whomever else to throw to. His numbers might not look as good, but that doesn't mean he's letting any less effective.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that, he does continue the 1,000-yard season streak. I really hope that does continue. But like Kat said, with the copious amount of targets, I mean, we have 3 perhaps obviously different tiered number ones, but we got 3 number 1 tight ends perhaps on teams. Then you got the receiving core. I mean, guys, I know preseason obviously is preseason. You're not going to quite see everything click together, and it might take a few weeks, but fellas, we're in 4 days we got Bucs football. I mean, this offense, they have to show up in 4 days. We got the names. Will we show up? I mean, we've seen elite offenses on opening night, time in and time out. They come in and, they look rusty as crap. We've seen it a couple years ago. Bears-Packers on Thursday night was a 10-3 game. Every year it seems like a slow scoring opening night game besides the one year the Chiefs did pop off. How are we feeling about Thursday? We think the Bucs are going to explode on the scene, or we think like last year the offense might take a while to get going?
Well, I for one, hope that the thing that ailed us the most was the slow starts on offense. So I hope 100% that's what they focused on this whole season, was getting out to a quick start. But the good news is, fellas, we're playing one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've done anything other than, I think Micah Parsons is going to be a star. Not week one, not against this level of talent. So that defense is bad enough to where even if we stumble out of the gate, we should still be able to, move the ball and get some points pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree with Bucko. It's a good team to start against. They've got a good offense that, depending on Dak, they're going to score some points this year. I think their defense will be better than it was last year, but this isn't an elite defense by any means. We're going to get against week one. They got DeMarcus Lawrence. To me, he's the only one. If he has a really good game, he can kind of maybe cause some trouble. But over that, I think we'll score 30 plus.
Yeah, I'm not worried, honestly. I feel like they got past that whole thing about slow starts the final quarter and playoffs last year. So, yeah, I'm not worried about it, honestly. I don't think they're going to have any trouble putting up at least 28 on these guys, and probably over 30. Someone asked me for a prediction last week, and I said the Bucs would put up. Well, I'll hold that for later in the show.
Yeah, go ahead. No one. All right.
Should I hold my prediction for later?
Yeah, that we're going to get to those predictions too, and we got Cleve, the Cowboy fan from Cleve and me coming on, and I'm sure his prediction, he's already talking his shit. He's already running his mouth a little bit about the Cowgirls coming into Tampa. And hey, if these Cowboy fans want to act like they're these big underdog upsets, bumbling and stumbling in, that's fine. But Cowboys fans love to sell it. I mean, they're supposed to win their division this year. If the Cowboys are that good, they should be ready to play. I'm tired of hearing they're these big, bad upsets. It's game on. If Mike McCarthy is such a good head coach, show it. If Dak Prescott's an elite quarterback, come in Thursday night and smack us. I don't want to hear, we're, these big, bad upsets. It's like, no, come on now.
You're fucking Cowboys. That's like calling. There's a certain. Well, I won't cross sports here, but one thing: Mike McCarthy is not a good coach. He's very overrated. Analytically, he's awful. Okay, he'll be fired in about a year, maybe two. That's one. Two. Every year, someone picks the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, right? A lot of people do. So don't sell the underdog role on me. I don't care that the Bucs are coming off the Super Bowl championship and the Cowboys were. What were they, 8-8 last year? I don't care. You're still the fucking Dallas Cowboys. You're not. Don't try the underdog role. I mean, you can do it if you want. We're gonna kick your ass anyway. You can play whatever role you want. All right. I'd have to get a mini rant.
Yeah. I think things just got much harder for them losing Zach Martin like that. That's fucking big. He was already gonna have his hands full up the middle with Vita Vea and all, but now, I think that is. They weren't going to run the ball on us anyway, so I wasn't too worried about that. But our pass rush is going to be a legitimate problem for them this game. I don't think they're going to score much. I do think they've got a great offense. I do think they'll get it going, but that's a tough week one matchup for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to see anyone hurt or have COVID or anything, but you can throw that in the excuse hopper for when they lose. I guarantee you it's going to be there, and I'm going to laugh. I'm going to say tough shit,
especially when Ndamukong Suh's shooting the gap over and over again because Zach Martin isn't there. Get their excuses ready. But, honestly, they have nobody on their pass rush end that threatens me. I don't think DeMarcus Lawrence can even get a touch on Brady with Tristan Wirfs in front of him.
That's right. He's not getting around Mount Wirfs.
I'm not worried about anything that Dallas is bringing to the table except for Ezekiel Elliott. That guy, I really think this is a breakout year for him. I think he gets back to form. But with Zach Martin going out, that kind of hinders that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of big for Zeke to get back to form too. He fumbled a lot last season. His numbers, if you still depict them, they look good at the running back surface, but obviously weren't Ezekiel-like numbers last season. So I agree with Bucko that Zeke does take a step in the right direction. But other than that, I mean, without some of their O-linemen, they're already down Zach Martin. And then Tyron Smith is questionable, so their left tackle is going to be banged up heading into the game. Lael Collins questionable. Their right tackle is going to be banged up heading into the game. O-line's very depleted. Their fullback is currently out. Their fourth wide receiver is out. I mean, this is a banged up team we're dealing with. They got a couple guys on defense questionable. We got their starting whatever the hell that return man, he's on IR. They got a couple guys who are just on IR right now. So the Cowboys are coming in, and like last year, guys, we're not hearing it now, but like the Super Bowl last year when they had two offensive linemen hurt, you didn't hear a sniff about it before the game, and then after the Bucs won the Super Bowl, all you heard were, oh, their offensive linemen were hurt. So now what's it going to be? The Cowboys have a couple injuries, a couple guys banged up, and then we're going to win Thursday, and we're going to hear, oh, they beat him because they're banged up, and even our very own buddy here, Killa Huncho, comments, look out for excuses.
I said it. It's in the excuse hopper already. You need to suck it up, Buttercup. Cowboys, suck it up.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Dude,
Tough shit.
I mean, this is the only time of the year most teams are ever going to be 100% anyway. So, I really don't want to. I don't care about it. If you're supposed to be a 13-win playoff team, number one offense in football, should be able to come out and win a game. But Cowboys fans this time of year, every year is their year. We got to hear this every August, every September. They say the same shit. All right, this is the first time we get to come out with our chest out and tell them eat a bag of dicks. You know what I mean? We're better than you, and hopefully we prove that on Thursday night.
I still
and
think
they're in the NL East anyway. I'm sorry, NFC East, not NL East. Gosh, so they can go 7-9 and win the division anyway. Despite us kicking their ass. So whatever, and then they'll say it all again. We're going to win the Super Bowl. We snuck in the playoffs. No, you're not. But anyway, yeah.
I think their only real chance was to turn into a shootout. But like Tomes was saying, typically offenses aren't clicking at full speed. Like week one, and they're missing probably their best offensive linemen. So I don't think it's going to be a shootout. But I think that would have been anything can happen, obviously. But I think that was their only real chance, and I don't see that happening week one.
And let's be honest, even when they were putting up points and statistics last year with Dak Prescott, a lot of that was garbage time, second half, things when they were getting blown out of the games. And sure, they may have even came back and beat one of the poor teams. I forget who one time, but they were just getting killed in a odd amount of games last year. And then, they started tacking it on, and then they went on to their second QB, Andy Dalton, then Gilbert came in, then Ben DiNucci came in, and before you know it, the Cowboys, still almost won that division, whatever record did trounce in. But now, Dak Prescott's here. So no more from Cowboys fans. I don't want to hear any excuses after this one. Like everyone says, this is the healthiest the team's often going to be throughout the season. So, they better be happy with what they got, the troops they got going into battle Thursday night. What I'm excited for is I'm excited to see a couple of our rookies play. I know that, they might not have the biggest roles to start, but guys, between Tryon, between Darden, between a couple of these rookies, the Bucs, right when people didn't think we could get better, I think we can, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing that happened to us was that guy holding out. Doing the COVID opt-out. That was the best thing that could happen to us. That guy doesn't fall to 32 if he plays last year. So that was a good get for us, lucky break. And, hell, the rich can get richer sometimes. It's capitalism.
Yeah, and we're going to welcome in Stunner real quick. It looks like he's on the move. Stunner, how we doing right now? Are you amped up for Thursday like the rest of us? We've just been talking about how these Cowboys fans are already preparing for the excuse book, looking in the injury card. They're not going to say it now, but it might come up now and then after Thursday when we win.
Yeah, they sound like the Chiefs fans with all those excuses, and then I say, well, were the Chiefs favored? and then they don't want to answer that. But yeah, Cowboys very arrogant fan base, and look forward to humiliating them a little bit, or at least get the W.
Yeah, they're kind of like Miami fans.
Oh man.
No, I just
Oh well, there goes Stun. You made him leave.
I
You
made him
made him leave.
Hey.
I play Bucko. You're a bully, Bucko. But
I
hey,
am not. No,
hey.
that is my rival. Forget that.
yeah, your team's
Well, I mean,
kicking
hey,
off
look,
in
it's
about 40
already
minutes.
they're already off to a bad start this week, the Cowboys, because for Cowboy fans, rather. The Yankees lost to the Orioles 2 out of 3 times. It's a bad start for Cowboy fans.
The Hurricanes lost.
Did you get that? You get it? You see? Because they're all Yankees and Cowboys fans? But really, though. Bad start already for the week, and the Lakers didn't win the championship. So that did they? Who won the NBA title? It wasn't the Lakers. So, yeah, that's rough for them. So, yeah. Milwaukee, thank you. So,
And
yeah, so there you go.
Hey, your narrative is going to hold somewhat true because the Cowboy cover Cleveland we got coming, and he's actually a Laker fan as well. He's a LeBron fan, so you know.
Oh, okay. Well, LeBron is, LeBron. I mean, the Cavs are cool. That's cool. I mean, I'm glad they won a championship. You know, I always feel for the fan bases that have never won anything. So good for them. The Lakers. I don't follow the NBA, but I know they've won too much. So, you know.
Yeah, I have never met a Cowboys, Mavericks, Rangers fan ever. That's never happened. It doesn't exist.
No, it's always Cowboys, Yankees, and Lakers. It is, and they don't usually have a hockey team. The Stars have won a little. They're not Lightning fans. I don't want them to be Lightning fans, but you're welcome to jump on if you want. I don't care. Jump on.
Maybe that'll be the new thing on ice that people, maybe Cleveland will become a Lightning fan at least, and we could have him on to talk Tampa Bay Lightning. But nonetheless, guys, we got a question from Killa. We'll talk about it when we let Cleveland in. We're lucky to get Cleveland in here until about 6:10 here. We got Cleveland for about 20 minutes or so. We're going to bring him in here now. His name is Cleve the Cowboy. That's already a bold statement. Cleveland is here from the Cleve and Me podcast, co-host of the Cleve and Me podcast. I'm a fill-in host for Cleve and Me sometimes. It's ran by Joe and Cleve. It's a great podcast. Go check them out. They cover wrestling, but they do talk football on there as well to end their shows. So we got Cleve, the Cowboys cover here from Cleve and Me. Cleve, thanks for joining us. How you doing tonight? And are you looking forward to your defeat on Thursday?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for inviting me on the show. I'm really looking forward to this game Thursday. I really started watching football about 2 years ago. Sort of got serious with it last year, and this season with the NBA season being over, I couldn't fully pay attention to the Cowboys this year. So I'm really looking forward to this upset this Thursday, and can't wait to talk about it.
You mean you being upset after the Cowboys lose?
Oh, no, I mean when the Tampa get their rings and then they get
That's
spanked.
what you were thinking. I was just correcting you. I'm snippy today, folks.
Yeah, look, I mean, look.
I'm always like that.
Look, there's a lot more question marks surrounding that football team in Dallas than there are mine. We're at home. We got everything flowing the right way. So really, Dallas has to come out and play a perfect football game to beat us. And I don't think that they haven't, as a team, taken live bullets at all. You saw no Zeke Elliott. You saw no Dak. We saw none of Amari Cooper. They haven't even done anything outside of a regular walkthrough practice together. You're going to come into Tampa in the heat in September and beat the world champs? Come on, man. That's lunacy to think that's going to happen.
It does worry me a little bit that Dak hasn't. I don't think he's actually played like a full practice yet. This is actual first time of like getting out there in physical contact, so it is a little to worry. And the defense, honestly, wasn't the best last year. So I think the Cowboys do have to actually have a pretty good, perfect game. But they have the offensive talents. Our receivers are good. We have Zeke, who will have a bounce back season, and Dak was actually playing really good before the injuries took him out. So I'm feeling really good about this game.
I do agree with you in one thing. I do think that Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a bounce-back season, but I don't think it's going to start Thursday because he's facing perhaps the most excruciating, toughest run defense in football. And now you guys are without your right guard, Zach Martin, one of the best in football, if not the best in football. Does that worry you more than it used to? Are you a little worried now that the Cowboys' perhaps best offensive player is missing Thursday?
Like I said, I'm still new to football, so I know that guard plays the offensive line. And I'm looking this guy, Zach Martin, up, and he actually is a stud. 6 All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowls, so that means he's actually a really good at his position. Honestly, just want to see Dak go through a game without any setbacks or any worry of him being scared to get hit, or just no rust, because he's going to have rust. He hasn't played an actual game in almost a year or so, so the rust is going to be there. But I just want to see if he's going to be scared to take the contact, or is he going to just run the ball, or is he just going to throw the ball the entire time? Let's just see how Dak comes out, and is he not scared, basically, how I see it.
Yeah, fellas, what do you guys say? I mean, Killa says is Dak 100. Cleveland says he's worried, that he wants Dak to feel safe even though Zach Martin's out. What's your guys' take on Dak back there? Obviously missed a year last year. We know what Dak could do when he's healthy, perhaps. Cowboys they were 14-2 in the NFC once, I believe, when Dak was at his best football. So we know that he did have the potential. Are you guys viewing Dak like he's a top 10 and a healthy quarterback heading in, or do you guys think Dak's going to play timid?
Well, no, I mean, you have to view him as such because that's what he is. Every time he's been on the field, he's been productive. You can't shit on him. I know a lot of people like to, but really you can't. He's been productive at every level. The thing that worries me is the speed they have at wide receiver, the efficiency they have at wide receiver. They will have the ability to run a quick passing game and get Dak in a rhythm and just, 3-step drops, get the ball out, 3-step drop, get the ball out. So it's going to neutralize our pass rush. And if he comes out and gets in that rhythm early, it's going to be a football game. So I'm hoping the rust is there and he's not able to get into that initial rhythm. The timing's going to be off, things of that nature. But if the timing is there, the rhythm is there, Dak is going to be Dak. That is something we need to worry about.
To piggyback off of Bucko, one of my points is going to be we need to try and hit him early because he is rusty. He hasn't played in a year. He's coming off an injury. Hasn't played any preseason games. I know he's practiced, but it's not the same thing. So if I'm Todd Bowles, I'm trying to come up with whatever kind of blitz I can to hit him early and often. At least just get hands on him. Maybe not necessarily sacking him, hit him, knock him around, throw his timing off. And he's got to be rusty. He hadn't played in a long time. He's coming off an injury, got the ankle, shoulder. But I agree with Bucko. He's without a doubt a top 10 quarterback. He has got a stacked wide receiver room. If he gets in a rhythm like this, it could turn into a shootout, no problem. So, yeah, my goal would be to hit him early, make that happen.
Yeah, you're going to want to make him – go ahead, A-Cat.
Yeah, you want to make him uncomfortable, move him off his spot, even though he moves around very well, or he has pre-injury, assume he still will. Yeah, you do want to move him off his spot a bit. I don't think Mike McCarthy as a play caller is quite adept enough to figure out that he probably should be using a quick passing game, given the pass rush he's up against. I just, like I said, I think he's way behind the times as a coach and a play caller. So that benefits us, and that benefits Todd Bowles as well.
No, as long as Todd Bowles doesn't get cocky and keep the corners 8 yards off the receivers like he did half the year last year to piss me off. As long as he doesn't do that, we're going to be all right, man. Play some press coverage.
After the bye week, they figured that out. Yeah, they figured that out. I think it took about 8 weeks to do it, maybe 12 weeks, but eventually did figure it out. Better late than never.
Yeah, we got away with it against, the mid-card teams last year, but as soon as we've seen what happened when we played – teams like New Orleans last season, although I don't think New Orleans replicates their success this season, but obviously last season they were up there. We've seen what happened at Sunday Night Football when our corners were just playing some weird defense, but we did figure that out, and the Cowboys perhaps have the second best wide receiver room in the NFL behind the Buccaneers. No question about that. Some people say Bengals, but their young guys got to prove themselves a little more to me in order to put them in that conversation. But guys, Cleve, we'll start with you here because you're the Cowboy guy. Out of Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, I mean, these are three good grade A wide receivers. Which one do you think has the biggest performance on Thursday night?
I mentioned on Twitter a while back, I think CeeDee Lamb takes the next step this season. I thought he was the second best rookie receiver outside of Justin Jefferson on the Vikings. So I think he CeeDee Lamb actually has a good game Thursday. I like Gallup, but he's more of a third option at wide receiver. I don't see him as a slot 2 or 1. And I know Amari's still the man, but I think CeeDee Lamb eventually moves him to number 2.
Yeah, he's dangerous out of the slot. I really don't like, I know SMB came a long ways last year playing that man in the nickel spot. I need him to be on his damn A game Thursday night because CeeDee Lamb's he's got some solid footwork. He's going to be tough to handle. But again, that's the guy that worries me too, is CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, Cats, Cody, you guys got anything to add? I mean, CeeDee Lamb, it seems like I know it's fantasy and not reality, but in fantasy football, Cody, Bucko, and I are in a league, but in the couple leagues I've already had drafts in, CeeDee Lamb has been the first wide receiver off the board for the Cowboys in every draft I've been into this point, with Amari Cooper following and then Michael Gallup following both of them. So I do agree that CeeDee Lamb, at least this year, has the highest ceiling of potential, and that's viewed by many people because at the end of the day, fantasy football, obviously, you need to have good statistics in order to get drafted higher. So people view it as who they think is going to have the best season. And Cody, Katz, do you guys agree that, come Thursday night that CeeDee Lamb's going to be the one the Buccaneers are going to have to worry about?
I think he's going to be the best wide receiver on Dallas this year. As far as our game, I'm interested to see how Bowles is going to do that. Me personally, regardless of where CD goes, I think I'd have Carlton follow him, and then maybe have Dean because he's faster on Cooper, and then SMB on Gallup. And I think if we did that, Carlton might be the most underrated cornerback in the entire league. Like that dude, you put him on a number 1 wide receiver, and he's going to lock him down or close to it. So, yeah, how we choose to cover him has a lot to do with it. But I do think CD's will be the best on their team this season.
Yeah, I'd say he's the most dangerous. I'll admit I have bad memories of Amari Cooper facing us, but that was a long time ago. So, the person who attempted to cover him is no longer here, thankfully. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think CeeDee Lamb is the most dangerous, and you want to take him away. And if you take your chances with the other two guys, that's probably what people think. Facing the Bucs, easier said than done. But I like our chances doing that. And I don't believe their tight ends. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to try to take a guess. I can't name their tight end. Jarwin? Is that the starting tight end?
Yeah,
they got Blake Jarwin.
See, so if you look at their receivers and ours, I give us a slight edge. But then when you look at the whole rest of the pass catchers, you look at our tight ends versus theirs. Well, that's a pretty huge win for us right there. And then as far as receiving running backs, they got Zeke and they've got. You're gonna have to help me out, but I know I'm excited. I'll say this: I'm excited to see Gio Bernard.
Right, Pollard. I'm excited.
Good, man. He's really good.
Pollard's a good strap.
Is he as good a receiving back as Gio Bernard, though? I'm not so sure about that.
I don't know because we didn't see a lot of them in the pass catching round. We didn't see their offense humming at any level for the majority of the season last year. I know they had 1 or 2 games where Andy Dalton played like a competent quarterback, but when Dak went down, they had no identity, bro. It was ugly to watch. It was terrible.
Fumbles everywhere.
I think I saw one of their games, maybe one. Yeah, again, I think it was against the Eagles, and they won that game. But the Eagles were just dreadful defensively.
Dude, I lost the fantasy Super Bowl because of that game. Andy Dalton put up 60 fucking points, and where did that come from? who plays Andy Dalton? First of all, and how did I lose to that? Oh, look,
because they were playing the Eagles, the Philadelphia Fleagles. I've got a dirty, nasty nickname for every team, folks. Stay tuned. You all know that.
What's your Cowboy one, or is it to,
Dallas Cokeheads.
Jesus.
That goes way back. Well, that goes back to some certain former players there, but they've had plenty of scumbags over the years on their team. Starts with the owner.
I call them Alice because they don't have no D over there.
There you go. Good.
Hey, we had some Eagles references alongside their backfield. Besides Pollard and Zeke, they did add Corey Clement, former Eagle, as well. So they have a couple options out of the backfield, and then tight ends. I believe they have Dalton Schultz as their only other option at tight end, but he had games of production, if it serves me right, last year, or unless I'm imagining things. But I think he did decent from time to time last year. But you look at their defense, and it's really their defense that I look at, and I'm like, they have a couple names like DeMarcus Lawrence and Leighton Vander Esch and Randy Gregory and Micah Parsons. But besides, no huge name. And, Trevon Diggs had a couple nice plays last year, Stephon Diggs' brother. But no one from this defense, to me, is overwhelmingly scary. Cleveland, we'll start with you. If you had to pick, your top-notch defender, one guy who's going to step up Thursday and perhaps help the Cowboys, they're not going to win. But if one guy was going to try and help them win on Thursday on their defense, who are you looking out for?
I'm really liking Michael Parsons. It's the reason they took him at the 12th pick. Our defense, like I said at the top, was very bad last season. It was hard to watch sometimes, especially when Dak went out and we had to play Andy Dalton and the offense wasn't moving. So it's a problem when you can't get points and then your defense just giving up points. So I'm really liking what this rookie can do. This is a big first test for him. Like you said, he's going against the defending Super Bowl champions, going against one of the GOAT, Tom Brady. So I'm thinking he's going to be the one step up. But I would really like DeMarcus Lawrence to actually have a better season than what he did last year too. But I'm going Michael Parsons as the guy that might have a good defensive game Thursday.
Yeah, just follow the blueprint of what the Bucs have done in the past few years in the draft and going to get you a 4-4 running middle linebacker. That's the best way to do it. The issue is we actually have a stellar offensive line, and we're complex enough on offense that rookie. And correct me if I'm wrong, he took Van Der Esch's spot, right? He's starting.
He's starting
off the bench. So I say we attack that guy early and often. Send AB right at his ass. Send Gronk at his ear hole. Get him ready real quick. Don't let that little dude get comfortable because he is fast and he is dangerous. Run right at his ass. Mess him up early.
Yeah,
I know it wasn't intended as shit talk, but I know it wasn't intended, I guess, as shit talk, but you know how Tom Brady is. He'll take it as such. He's like, well, he's not that he's never moved well. It's like, yeah, that's true, duh, but that's not really meant as an insult, but Brady will take it as one. And he'll roast him immediately. But, it's going to happen, right? We know.
And I took that personal.
He will take it personal. It wasn't at all. I don't think it was meant as an insult at all, but he'll take it as one, as if he needs any more.
Dude, that's what the greats do. They find something to fuel it. They'll make it up if they have to. Like one of my favorite movies of all time. The Program. Alvin, what'd you say about my mama? You don't want to rape my sister. You don't want to rape my sister too. And just going and trying to destroy people, hyping themselves up, man. It's just that's part of the game. But wherever you get your fuel from, use it. And Tom's great at pulling that shit from the media and other players and using it against him. I love that shit.
Yeah, Tom is great. The thing that's interesting with Parsons is he was an opt-out last year with COVID. He did decide to, forego his college season last year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And, that could be a good thing. We've seen Joe Tryon come and, he opted out and he looks fresher than ever. So I'm sure that Parsons probably fits the same mold there as well. And I remember just watching the draft and thinking, a lot of these first rounders actually opted out last year. So a lot of these GMs could be thinking the same thing, that these kids are going to be fresher than ever, ready to go. Cody, I know you were a big Parsons guy. You think he's the X factor? And real quick to answer the question, Vander Esch, he's still starting, but he did get bumped the linebacker spot because of Parsons. Leighton Vander Esch moved to weak side linebacker.
I think he's going to have a lot of tackles because I think Godwin and AB are going to be eating in the intermediate game, so I think he'll be in on a lot of tackles. But like like I said earlier, to me, if Dallas got a chance to win, they've got to have a good pass rush. So if they're going to win, it needs to be DeMarcus Lawrence, in my opinion, having a good game. Needs to find a way, move him around, have him go against Donovan Smith, whatever they need to do. But that's pretty much the only way you're going to throw Tom Brady off. You've got to sack him. Like if you give him any time, especially with people like AB and Godwin, Roman, the 6, 8, 10-yard distance, like they're going to feast. So I think it needs to be Lawrence, but I don't think it will be.
I'll tell you this, Cody, just to go off what you're saying, they better not be arrogant enough to just rush forward and think they're going to get pressure. They don't have anything on the interior that scares me at all. They better be sitting 5 and 6 a lot. If they plan on getting pressure, they're going to have to manufacture it. It's not going to come with 4, not against this line.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that all. And, they're going to have to come with creative, either rush more than 4 or come up with creative things in order to get after the quarterback. But I am interested to see what the Cowboys could bring as a whole. And then obviously they do have Greg the Leg that they pay pretty handsomely as their kicker. And they have former Buck Brian Anger as their punter. So former Buck as their punter. Anger didn't do the best in his times here in Tampa. Maybe you guys get a little more juice out of him down there in Dallas, but Anger was not the greatest down here. So, Cleve, I don't know, but your special teams could, Zerline looks a little overpaid. He didn't quite have the year that people expected out of him last year. So we'll see what happens. It looks like, we'll see. I think we outman you guys in special teams as well, but what are your thoughts on the Cowboys special teams?
I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to really speak upon.
I see CeeDee Lamb's your punt returner, and Tony Pollard is your kick returner, so they do have some elusive guys as return men.
Yeah. Well, the kickoff returner doesn't matter. I think we're top 3 in the league in touchbacks. You're not going to really run any kicks on us. And I don't think we'll be punting the ball very often, so you don't got to worry about that aspect of it. The thing, Zerline does have a big leg. He can kick long field goals. That's a way, if the drive stall around the 35, 40, he can still bang them from there. So that's a way to keep Dallas in the game. Greg Zerline, I think I'd give him the edge over Suckup because of the field goal length ability. But other than that, neither one of these teams' special teams, I think, will factor in this game. That much.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I mean, especially week 1, special teams kind of becomes a bigger factor as the season goes on. It seems to be one of those things where it really dictates if you win or lose more games, because it's one of those aspects of the game where teams can get lazy as years go on or as the season goes on. And we've seen it a couple times last year, Bucs and a couple years back, but their return coverage used to be atrocious, and it got a little better last year. I remember Pat O'Connor had a big part to do with that, with just getting after punters and making him feel a little more uncomfortable. So I guess I am looking forward to seeing how Pat O'Connor is able to do in the special teams aspect of things for the Bucs. I remember he had a couple fumble recoveries and a blocked kick on special teams just a season ago. Once again, we are here with Cleveland from the Cleve and Me podcast.
It's Cleveland. He's from Detroit. Forrest Gump quotes, man. They never get old. I'm sorry.
Buccos have comedian, if you didn't know yet.
No. I just remember random movie quotes from the 80s and 90s for whatever reason.
And I'm sure the 40s and 50s as well. But
I'm not as old as Stunner.
Yeah, no, that is true. Son is having little technical difficulties right now. Hopefully we got 3 words out of him so far, and then he bounced out. So hopefully we have 20 more minutes left for this podcast. We're going to run the Buccateers for about 20 more minutes, and then we're going to bounce out of here. So we're doing our live season preview show. We're live on YouTube right now. You could also be catching this episode in days to come on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, and so much more. The Buccateers podcast, we're going to be here throughout the season, doing post-game shows, doing weekly shows to preview upcoming matchups and we're going to have a lot of fun people on throughout the year. We're going to have guys when, we know a good podcaster who likes other teams, we're going to have him on the show. So just like we're doing with Cleve right now and the Cowboys, you can expect other guests throughout the year, and we're going to have Bucs guests as well. We're going to have J.C. Allen back from the Pewter Report. Now, when he was on the show, he was Buck Report. Now he's Pewter Report. So that'll be fun. And then we're going to have probably Evan Winter back. Our friend Anthony Gator, who joins us here and there, will be back, former Bucs cornerback. So it'll be another year full of fun. Another year full of guests and whatnot. But Cleveland, it's going good having you as our first guest. You jumped into the Shark Tank, the tank full of piranhas. You're holding your own for now. Come Thursday, we know that won't be the case. But if you were to predict the score for Thursday, and don't worry, we won't rip your head off for getting it wrong or for seeing it the wrong way. What do you think the score is going to be this Thursday when it's all said and done, and why?
I went on Twitter and I said 21-14, but I'll give Tampa 7 more. So I'll go 21-28. I think if the Cowboys just outscore them and just, pass the ball, it's basically we just have to outscore Tampa. That's all that really matters, basically. Just offense has to play better than Tampa's offense. And I think we can get that. 28-21 is my final score.
Yeah, well, if it's anything like last year, the Cowboys would wait long before attacking. So we'll see, guys. What do you think about that? 28-21 Dallas Cleveland says.
I think the go ahead, Cats. Go ahead.
In what, a video? Is that a video game?
No. That defense is not holding this offense to 21 points. That's not going to happen. And if you plan to outscore, you're going to have to score 40. But no, I see this 34-20 Bucs. I think they will score, and they'll score, a couple field goals early, but then they'll have a little surge late and make it interesting. But I really don't think the game's going to be that close. I really don't.
I'm about with Bucko. I've got it 34-23 Bucs. I think both teams will move the ball pretty well, but I think Tampa will score touchdowns. Dallas is going to have to settle for more field goals. But I do think they'll move the ball. But I've got us scoring touchdowns. I'm settling for field goals, and I think that's the difference.
Cats, what say you? If you had to predict the final score, what's it looking like? Are you? Well, no, you're not with Cleve. What do we got?
Yeah. Well, actually, a friend of mine earlier this week asked me for my prediction, and I'll give the same one. It's almost the same as you guys, 34-24 Bucs.
34-20. I'm going 37-21 Bucs. I think.
Oh my God.
Yep. I think 37-21. I think Ryan Suckup gets a good amount of kicking attempts. I think he's gonna have a nice little day of field goals, and I think that, like Cody and the other guys said as well, I think that the Cowboys are going to move the ball fluid here and there, but I think ultimately what dooms the Cowboys a little bit, it's going to be the pressure the Bucs provide on them, and then perhaps turnovers here and there. And Dak, he's going to get a lot of yards. Sure, a lot of that might come in the second half when they're trailing by double digits or whatnot. But he's going to put up a good effort. He's going to put up a good fight. But the thing is, he hasn't played in a bit. The turnovers in the second half, to me, could be the difference makers. Speaking of difference makers, guys, we're going to go around the table here and speak for one guy on each side of the ball. Who do we think on either team? Who's our difference maker of the game? We're going to start with offense, and we're going to start with you, Cody. Then we'll bounce to Cats, then we'll go to Cleve. Cody, what are you thinking?
Well, I feel like Tom Brady's too easy, so I'm going to go with AB. I'm really expecting AB to have a big year. I think, Evans and Godwin are going to get a lot of attention. I think he's going to get a lot of one-on-ones, and I expect him to have a monster year. Catches, not so much touchdowns, but catches, yards, big third down conversions. So, yeah, I think AB's going to have a big game.
Cats, what say you? I know a lot of people are high on AB this year. I've seen AB talk, spread out, and I will say I was one of the ones at first who was a little skeptical. I'm like, do we need him? We already have Gronk. We already have Mike Evans. We already have Chris Godwin. We had Scotty Miller, O.J. Howard, Cam Brate. I mean, we had all the guys in place, and then we brought in A.B., who at the time was going through a little bit of trouble, but he moved in with Tom Brady. He's back on track now. He looked great at times last year. Now he's got a whole offseason of rapport with Tom Brady in this Bucs offense, so he's going to be huge. Cats, you think it's going to be AB this Thursday, or you think someone else on offense is going to steal the show?
I'm going to pick Gronk.
Gronk, the blocking tight end?
Go with Gronk. Yeah, I don't think they're going to need him to block in this particular game. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a big game. Yeah, against this defense, I don't think they're going to need to use him to block. Yeah, I see him having a big game.
I am interested to see how our tight end room is displayed week one, that's for sure. I mean, obviously, I think in terms of clear-cut talent, Gronk, obviously Gronk's future Hall of Famer, perhaps one of the best tight ends, if not the best in NFL history. And then O.J. Howard in terms of talent, although he has a lot of drops and injuries now, he's probably 2, and Brate is 3, but Brate performed elite in the playoffs for us. He played a big role in the playoffs, and he developed a really good chemistry with Tom Brady. So to me, after Gronk, it'll be interesting to see how Howard and Brate get dispersed. I know Howard is a little better blocking as well, so he gets the advantage there. But Brate and his chemistry, his reliability with Brady, I mean, our tight end room, we really go deep. So it's going to be interesting to see how that cake gets sliced. I know Gronk is probably going to have a bigger year even than he did last year. I mean, that Super Bowl, he was almost on pace to become Super Bowl MVP. He almost had a 3rd touchdown. If he would have got 3 touchdowns, Gronk probably would have won Super Bowl MVP. So, as the season went on last year, Gronk and Brady were more classic than ever. And I think it's only going to keep getting like that for Gronk and Brady into the 2021 season. Cleve, for the Cowboys offensive side of things, who's your player of the game to watch out for? Then we're going to close out with defensive players to watch out for.
I'm going back to Zeke. I think Zeke has a lot to prove from last season. I'm looking at his numbers right now. He failed to reach 1,000 yards, only 6 touchdowns, 6 turnovers. Remember, he just got that fat contract 2 years ago, so he has to start showing that he's worth that money that the Cowboys are giving him. And we know the history of running backs. They don't last very long in the league, so you're supposed to get your money's worth while they're there. And just another fun fact, the last time that he rushed for less than 1,000, he came back the next season. He rushed for 1,400 yards. So maybe this will be a start of a bounce-back year. I really think we need him too, because if Dak can't play, if it takes Dak a while to come back from this injury, get back into his groove, then Zeke has to pick the slack up, because he is the second best. He's the second most important person on his offensive side of the ball for the Dallas Cowboys, to me.
Yeah, I agree there. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I do believe as well that Zeke is he's really going to be the key to the Cowboys offense this year, because last year we kind of seen that itself. Cowboys in the first half a lot of the time, and it's the right thing to do. They'd really try and get their run game involved with Zeke or Pollard, whoever it may be. They'd get behind early and often because they'd struggle running and their defense struggled. Then, bam, their offensive passing game had to help him between, Cooper, Jarwin, and the likes of those. So if they could get Zeke back on track this year, which a lot of people believe can happen, which I do believe can happen, it'll be interesting to see how far this offense could go. I mean, we talked about their wide receiver room already, so they have the weapons there, and Zeke is a good pass-catching back as well. We've seen Zeke be multi-talented, and then they got Corey Clement and Pollard, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully there's no pot for Ezekiel Elliott to jump in after touchdowns like he did the one time, So we'll see what happens there. We've had Antonio Brown. We've had Gronk. We've had Zeke. And now for the Bucs, for offensive player of the game, I know it sounds, a little – I'm going with Lenny F. I think Lenny F is going to carry off his Super Bowl high, his playoff high. I think Lenny F learned a lot under Bruce Arians, not only this offseason but last year as a Buc, his growth of a human being. I think he learned how much dedication and effort it takes to be a top running back in the National Football League. And we're talking about Leonard Fournette, who has in Jacksonville been at the top before, but He almost got cut mid-year with the Bucs last year. We all know Bruce Arians called him in. Lenny F wasn't happy with his snap count. Did he really want to be there? Well, long story short, couple injuries later to Rojo, LaShawn McCoy, etc. Lenny F had to step in. Lenny F did step up, especially in the playoffs. So I do think Rojo is a good year as well. I think we really do have a formidable running back duo. And then you had Giovanni Bernard out of the passing game this year. I mean, I do think the Bucs running game this year is probably going to be the best in quite some time. But I'm really thinking and hoping that Leonard Fournette gets off to the right foot. I could see Lenny F going for around 100 total yards from scrimmage and 1 touchdown, whether it's receiving or rushing. So let's hope Lenny F gets off to the right start. And we're going to move to the defense now. We're going to start with Cleve and work our way around opposite. So Cleve, Cowboy defender, you sticking with Parsons, but this game in particular, who is the X factor?
I think it's DeMarcus Lawrence. I think he has to step up. He had did not have a great season last year. I'm sort of looking at his numbers right now, and it really wasn't the best. And you forget he got paid 2 years ago, also 5-year, $109 million. So he has to also show that he's worth that money. And yeah, I think he just needs to show. He needs to have a good game Thursday to build confidence in our defense.
Yeah, Katz, what say you? Who's your defender to look out for? I mean, Cowboys side, I agree with you, Cleve, and Cody echoed it as well. Bucko echoed it as well. If you guys are going to have a key to the game, it will be him lining up against Donovan Smith, or maybe you move him around a little bit, see where he lines up. Pass rush against Brady is the name of the game. Cody, you think it's the same for the Bucs? You going with the pass rusher on defense, or you going with somebody else?
Sort of. I'm going with Devin White. I think he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. The dude, you always hear about offensive weapons. To me, he's that, but on defense, he can rush the passer. He got much better as the year went on in coverage. Obviously, great in run support. I think with their offensive line, I think they're going to be so worried about our defensive line trying to block who. I think there's going to be some, Bowles will dial up some blitzes. And Devin White, I think he had 9 sacks last year. So, I just think he's going to rush the passer some. Obviously be great in run support and potentially cause a turnover or something like that. But yeah, I think Devin White's going to be all over the place. I really expect a monster year out of him this year.
And the crazy thing with Devin White is, I mean, obviously he's so damn good at rushing the passer, but it's you look at our edge rushers, you look at some of our linemen, you wouldn't even think of, when you're game planning, Devin White's not at the top of your head to stop for pass rushing, but it's you better think about him when you're playing him in the pass rush, because you do have to deal with the likes of Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, and now Tryon, and then you got Vea Goldson, and then before you know it, you got Devin White following a gap that's blown up by a guy like Vita Vea. So you really do have to worry about a guy like Devin White and the explosiveness he brings to the defensive side of the ball. Katz, do you agree? You think Devin White's the one, or are you going elsewhere?
Well, I can't really argue against that, but I'll go with Shaq Barrett for this one.
Cody did make a hell of an argument there.
Well, my other thing, I forgot to touch on this. When it comes to those blitzes, especially from the linebacker, the communication between the center and guards is huge. They've got a backup guard in, so I'm assuming the communication, already isn't going to be as good. And then, like I said, I think they're just going to be so focused on, stopping Shaq, Vita. There's just so many guys to try and stop. Then they're relying on the communication. That's tough. That's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah, and you said Shaq Barrett. Katz, how big of a game you think he has?
I could see him having a 2-sack game, a couple passes defense.
Yeah, I put $5 on Shaq Barrett to lead the NFL in sacks. I think it would pay out 130. So it's one of those bets where low risk, high reward right there. So got to do it. $5, whatever. It's Shaq Barrett. He could easily lead the lead in sacks. I mean, guy's a beast. Since you went Shaq, though, and since Cody went Devin White, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go for a different defensive player of the game to look out for, perhaps. And I don't know why. I just have a feeling in my gut that the man who is going to make a huge play on Thursday, and I know, it's not a popular choice by any means, but I think I think Mike Edwards is going to step up on Thursday. I think he's going to have a big play in the secondary. We've seen it a couple times in the playoffs. I think Mike Edwards is really filling in, that backup secondary role nicely when we need guys to rely on when, Winfield or when Whitehead are a little banged up or when they have to take a breather for a series here and there. A lot of teams get nervous with their backup safeties, but I think Mike Edwards is becoming one of the more better equipped backup safeties in the game, and I would not be surprised if Mike Edwards has a turnover or is the main reason for a turnover or has a key pass deflection late in the game or something to show that, hey, he's very prevalent. And I know I was one of the guys, but in the beginning of last season, week 1, when, that kick return happened where we fumbled and Mike Edwards had that ugly little play where he ran back. Yeah, that was disappointing, but Mike Edwards has really came a long way since then, fellas. So I think a lot of viable options have been said offensively, defensively. We talked a lot about score prediction, fellas. I think we're all amped up and ready to roll for Thursday at this point. Any last thoughts, comments, and concerns, fellas, before we close it out here?
I'll just say thank you guys for allowing me to come on the show and talk about my Cowboys. I know you guys don't believe it, but I believe Thursday that we will pick up this victory. You guys can catch me on Twitter because, I will be on Twitter all game, letting, the haters know.
Where can we follow you, Cleve?
You can follow me at Cleve the Goat 1. And also, before I hopped in, I heard you guys also saying how if you're a Cowboys fan, you're a Lakers fan, and a Yankees fan. The ironic part is, actually, I used to like playing with the Yankees growing up on baseball. And those are probably one of the teams I recognize in baseball, but I'm not a Yankees fan. Only the Lakers fan.
Because I hate the Yankees. I detest them.
But I am a LeBron fan, and I'm only a Lakers fan because the GOAT LeBron is on that team. So that's just all I got to say for that.
No, second GOAT, Michael Jordan is better, and I'll even argue Kobe, but we'll save that for a rainy pod, Cats,
that's fine. I don't follow the NBA, but fuck the Yankees times 10.
Besides being fuck the Yankees, besides not following the NBA, you have any last words for Cleve, or where can the people follow you at?
Oh, me?
Yes, sir.
Where can they follow me?
I know you're amped up for the hate right now, but
Yeah, no. I'm A_Catsman83 is still.
Yes, sir. Cody, any last words for the pod? Where can the people follow you? And any last words for Cleveland heading into Thursday's matchup?
Good luck. Y'all are going to need it. Thanks for coming on, talking with us. Cody G417 on Twitter. And I just hope both teams come out healthy. I don't want to see anybody hurt so early. I don't want to see anybody hurt ever. But, week 1, let's both get out of there healthy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Health is key, especially in football early on. You don't want to see one of your better players go down early on your team. I know Zach Martin going down is a huge loss for them. Obviously, it does benefit the Bucs, but we don't like to see players get hurt. We don't like to see players get COVID and have to miss games. It's just one of the natures of the beast with the NFL this year. Tom Brady said it more than ever. COVID might be more prevalent in this upcoming football season more than last. And, later on in our podcasts as well, the upcoming podcast, we can talk about a little more about Tom Brady and COVID. But, guys, it's going to be crazy this year. Injuries, COVID. I mean, we can see a couple guys, knock on wood. It's a long way to Thursday. We don't want to lose anyone between now and then with COVID or injuries in practice. So hang on to your hats, throw up a prayer, and say, one or two words that no one. You never know for the Cowboys, especially. Zach Martin got it. Where could it stop with Dallas? That could be very impactful for the Cowboys, especially. We've seen Ndamukong Suh supposed to come back tomorrow off the COVID list for the Bucs, and Ryan Suckup just came back off the COVID list, and we've seen Earl Watford come off the COVID list. So the Bucs just got over their mini outbreak, it seems, knock on wood. Hopefully we don't see the Cowboys get decimated too much. We do want this Thursday night game to happen, and we do want to see the Cowboys in pretty good shape. So, guys, thanks again. It's been incredible. The Buccateers podcast can be found on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, so much more, Twitter as well. It's been incredible. We had Cats, we had Stunner, we had Cody G, we had Bucko the Bruce, and we had Cleve from Cleve and Me podcast joining us to talk some Bucs Cowboys. For now, until Thursday post-game show or Friday post-game show, we're going to be at you guys live. But for now, it's Go Bucs until Thursday. Cleve, sorry about that, buddy. I'll send you some tissues or something. No, I do appreciate your time and efforts on the pod. Fellas, everyone enjoy their nights.
You too.
You guys have a good one.
See you guys.